Yeah. So while we are waiting, maybe Stefan, can you give us a very, very brief update on this new GitHub.com pull request you are working on, enable generation of GitHub teams for all working groups? Not sure if I have.
For all working groups, that doesn't matter so much because up runtime deployments working group, now I have it, has already the team generation enabled and the teams are set up. So let's have a look. Let me go. I think I have it here. Share my screen. Screen 1, screen 2. Ah, that's the wrong one. Yep. So you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. Now. Check for teams. Yep, we have now new generated teams. They are all named according to a certain standard. Workgroup minus, then comes the workgroup name, up runtime deployments. Here, everybody who is a member listed in the workgroup charters is included. And then there are more groups, one for the bots. There's only one, and then there is a runtime deployments, and now comes CF deployments. That's the project area. There's only one in this working group, and here are all the committers who have write access for this repository. Jochen, as a workgroup lead, is maintainer everywhere, but you should not maintain something manually. That's maybe I need to discuss that, whether we should keep that with maintainers or not, but as it was so in the past, we have kept it because every change should be done by an automation. That means you added the you add a committer or whatever in the workgroup charter document, and then after 1 day or so, the access rights should be adapted accordingly. So this is there. So you could maybe double check whether these teams are okay. If you want to get rid of the other teams, this is still under discussion, I guess, in the next TOC meeting. I mean, of course, if you want to get rid of them, you could file a PR in this Cloud Foundry YAML in the community project, but that's a pretty cumbersome stuff because it's a huge file that is basically a dump in a YAML file of the whole organization, and there are hundreds of projects and hundreds of teams inside, so it's really no fun. And we discuss whether we do a, let's say, bulk removal of all other teams. That might lead to some missing access rights then, but then it's cleaned up. This is not yet decided, and we don't know yet. So
okay. So, I mean, the first team is still used for authorization to some concourse instances, yes? We cannot just automatically delete this.
Okay, then maybe it's a good idea to switch that over to this new team.
Yeah, okay, good. So,
and it is supposed to work. Yep, these are the interesting.
We've used this in at least for the concourse and maybe for something else. So yeah, we should carefully check.
Yeah. So far, nothing is deleted. Maybe we also give, let's say, 1 or 2 months to the workgroup leads to clean up. But then you have to file PRs to this Cloud Foundry YAML, because if you added something here in the UI, it gets reset up when the automation runs the next time.
Okay. Yeah, good, fine. Okay, I just wanted to be sure that I understand what's going on here. Okay.
So at the moment, we have this working group and the foundational infrastructure, but I guess after next Tuesday, we will enable that for all working groups.
Okay.
And when this is in, then we will start with the cleanup.
Yeah. Okay, thanks. Good. Yeah, you can unshare if you want.
Yeah.
Okay, then let me give a brief update on what happened last week. So we had a very productive pairing session with Carson, and we managed to migrate the first pipeline from the VMware concourse to our application runtime deployments concourse. That is the Sea of Smoke tests pipeline. So we transferred all required credentials to the CredHub of this concourse instance and made sure that the pipeline itself is working. And as you see, it is. The tests themselves are still failing because of the ongoing Ginkgo version 2 migration. Was that right? Yes.
That's correct. I made a PR last night that I hope will resolve that issue for smoke tests.
Okay, cool. Then we'll recheck as soon as possible. Yeah, but the most important thing now, we have the proof that we are now ready to go, and we will soon start to migrate the other pipelines. Yeah, the back end, that is the Bosch Bootstrap loader resources for testing are also not yet migrated. This will then also be the next big effort to migrate those to our GCP account. Okay, good. Then checking our, where is it? Dashboards. I did not find very much with any, except maybe of this one. I didn't find any real big news worth discussing. But yeah, maybe Carson, you can elaborate a little bit on this one, a very simple change.
It's a very simple change.
It's not simple, it's small.
Yes. This would just be signaling that folks can start experimenting with Jammy, with an experimental ops file that will quickly and easily turn on Jammy for your system if you have already uploaded a Jammy stem cell. There's maybe something more to add to it if there's a way to automatically upload that stem cell. I'm not sure if that's I don't think that's a possibility though. It's also going to be horribly broken for most situations right now, because I think Cappy's still dealing with OpenSSL 3 and I believe Diego has its own problems. So I don't think that it's necessarily a good idea for people to switch over, but it's I think it's a precursor to saying, hey, we're all in on this Jammy thing. We're going to get us there.
Okay. Yeah. Well, yeah. Okay. Good. It's a start. Yeah. Good. Let me check the project board once more. Yeah, so I'm trying to keep this overview thing up to date, but remember these are manually uploaded using Ruben's tool. So I'm doing this from time to time to collect all the issues and pull requests in one places, but yeah, still this is not perfect, but okay. Good. Then let's check check the meeting notes from the last meeting. So yeah, this is done, and yeah, as soon as we are ready, we will ask you for another pairing session for the next pipelines. The Cloud Foundry acceptance test. I think here nothing happened, right? So yeah. Yeah, that was when we disable V2, then a few tests are still failing. There's no pull request, right?
No, we have a story in our team backlog, but that's not yet.
Oh, okay, you have created a story for this?
Yeah.
Okay,
so
good.
we will eventually address this problem. There's some hard-coded V2 calls. The interesting thing is it's calling an API that doesn't exist in V3. So we have to replace it somehow. It's something.
Yeah, I've had requests from other users who were wondering where this has gone, but I think it is somewhere here. Yeah, so it's not completely done, but well, you have to search a little bit, yeah, but okay, good. Okay, so this will be addressed. Yeah, Jammy pipeline bubble. Yeah, okay. So that is basically all that happened so far. Any other important business?
Oh, I meant to ask why the new smoke test pipeline is paused. Is that just because it's failing right now?
Yes, because it's failing, and we weren't a bit unsure if you have really paused the other one, the old one. And yeah, well, the question is, do you already want to delete it? Would we lose anything valuable?
I am fine to delete the old one. We may want to give it a couple weeks because we would lose the history of failures.
Yeah, okay.
But other than that, I have no problems with deleting the old one. And I think the old one is really paused. I mean, there's a blue line over the top. It says paused.
It is indeed paused. Yes, that's what we agreed. Here it is.
Yeah.
Oh, it's getting orange. Yeah, so yeah, okay, sure, we would lose the history. Yeah, so.
But that means we could unpause the pipeline on the new Concourse now, right? Because we know the other is paused, and then we have at least one that is
running. Yeah.
Unpause it. I'm not sure why exactly. Off top, do you remember? Was there any urgent reason, or it's just because we were not sure what was happening?
Yeah, we were not sure. I think so.
Okay, good. Then now it's unpaused. Good. Perfect. Okay, good. And the Ginkgo change is still pending, yes? Ginkgo version 4?
That's the cats one. Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah.
I haven't been that engaged with that PR as much recently, which is but that is blocking any successful cat CI runs right now. So we do need to okay, so that's the smoke test one. Yeah. I made some commits last night that I think that I was able to test locally and saw them succeed.
Okay.
So I think it's good to go.
Okay. Yeah, this is not readable. Okay, huge change. Yeah.
I mean, if you minimize the vendor change, which is going to be the least readable stuff, and ignore go.sum, the rest of it should pretty much just be changing Ginkgo to Ginkgo v2. There was some caveats like the way that custom reporters have changed is pretty significant. So I had to just refactor some of the custom reporter stuff and kill one of the custom reporters because there's no easy way to do it. Team city report like we were doing with V1 and V2.
Okay, good. Urgent, yeah. Okay, fine. Yeah. Okay. Any other business?
At the moment, not. I think for the smoke test, that's some activity I wanted to trigger. On our side is that we have automatic updates on the Golang version for the smoke tests, maybe a GitHub action or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I think some other teams did it for their Bosch releases and should be not too complex.
Okay. Yeah.
I wanted to write a story here. From, let's say, priority point of view, Dave, Carson, what do you think? Is it more urgent to migrate the test landscapes or test foundations into the public GCP accounts, or is there some more work to be done on, let's say, the Gemi side?
I don't think there's much urgency with migrating the foundations over. The easiest one to do is CATS, because that's the one that CF smoke tests and CF acceptance tests use. It might be worth doing prioritizing that to see how hard it would be to move a foundation over and then using that as a judge. But in general, I'd prefer, I think, jammy stuff over foundation migration stuff.
Because when I look now at our SAP team where we work on, when we say Gemi, it would mean that we focus on making the cloud controller work on Ruby 3.1, because that's a big blocker. And it would not be CF deployment tasks at the moment. And then I think an Nginx migration is needed in addition, but then at least the cloud controller would be off the critical path. That's maybe helpful. I mean,
I mean, far be it from me to set policy. I'm just seeing that Jammy is like a foundation-wide goal, right? Everyone seems to be working on it, and it'd be good to push that through. Migrating over our foundations would be really nice, but it's not necessarily as impactful outside of this team. And migrating our foundations from like the old GCP account to the new GCP.
Okay.
Yeah, but if there's time and space, I'd say let's try and move the CATS environment, because that is the easiest, most or that's the most impactful one to move over.
Yeah. Okay. Sure.
For the automatically bumping Golang package on CF smoke test release, I made an issue about that 10 days ago on GitHub.
Great. Yeah. We see that regularly because we have to run some black duck scanning, and then we get reports about, I mean, Golang always has some vulnerabilities. That's all.
Okay, well, good, fine. So this should be enough food for until the next meeting. If there's nothing else, we can close today's meeting. I will write the minutes or compile the meeting minutes tomorrow, and then we are good to go. Yeah?
I think so.
Okay. Thanks for attending. Have a nice evening, a nice day, and see you in 2 weeks. Bye-bye.
See you.
See you.
See you.
See you.